I grew up in the Cold War era. So I remember when I was a kid going to grade school and looking up at blue skies and thinking to myself, or wondering if today would be the day that the Russians were going to, incinerate me and everybody else. Because we all knew that, if the Russians pressed the button, we were only 60 minutes away from complete and total annihilation. And I remember looking up at that blue sky and thinking to myself, well, am I going to be scared? Because it's a scary idea, I said to myself, well, there's nothing I can do about it, so don't worry about it. And that's basically how everybody, all of my friends, that's how we all saw it, That's how my generation saw it. Now I see people, different world leaders or whatever talking about nuking this and nuking that. And everybody gets so scared, these millennials and stuff. They get terrified, or the boomers get terrified. Because if you look at the boomers, they weren't born in the Cold War, but when they were teenagers, that's when this whole threat of nuclear annihilation came up. So you can see how they dealt with it. They went into drugs, free sex, traveling around, whatever. It was all in a response to this idea that that the world was ending. The game was going to be over. So that's how they dealt with it. So, everybody's terrified of this type of stuff. But my generation, we just accepted it. Well, if that's the way it's going to be, then that's the way it's going to be, But my generation refused to be bullied. Gen X refused to be bullied, We weren't going to give up. And we weren't going to be bullied either. So if anything, it made us angry. Well, we were ready to get angry at anybody who tried to bully us. But so anyway, so the point I want to talk about now is, we go through these generations. There's supposed to be like 4 generations, right? There's a strong generation, there's a weak generation, there's a strong generation, there's a weak generation. So if you go back 80 years, like 80 years ago, we had World War II. 80 years before that, we had the Civil War. And then 80 years before that, we had the Revolutionary War. So war, it tends to cycle in these 80 years, 4 generations, and if every generation is 20 years. So if you look at the generation that went and fought in World War II, they were called the greatest generation. But it was, the generals were in a different generation. I think if you calculate it down, guys like General George Patton Jr., he would be what is like Gen X now. So Gen X is steadily taking over the world. I think most of the senior officers in the military now would be Gen X. With the politicians, Gen X is in there. It's still mostly the boomers that are running everything. I mean, Trump is a boomer, right? I don't know, Vance, maybe he's a Gen X then. but the interesting, so the question is whether, because there's another great conflict coming, right? Because we're in that 80-year time frame. So what kind of conflict is it going to be? Is it going to be another world war? Or is it going to be a civil war? So I've been thinking about that. And I'm thinking it's not going to be a world war. And the reason is because of these nuclear bombs. Everybody's scared of getting nuked. So, if there is any kind of global conflict, it'll always be minimalized. It'll always be fought with, at least one hand be tied behind your back, that type of stuff. Just out of fear of the big bomb. So what that means, so the nukes actually, this threat of mutual total annihilation or whatever it's called, threat of mutual destruction, total mutual destruction, or whatever that is, that actually suppresses world wars, a true world war from happening. I mean, if you think about World War II was ended with a nuke. It was over with a nuke. A nuke ended that conflict. And none of the other conflicts ever went, beyond a certain level. There are localized wars, all of them since then. So if it's not going to be a global war, a world war, then it's going to have to be a civil war. So that's what I'm thinking. So if it's a civil war, what form of civil war is it going to be? Is it going to be the blacks against the whites, or is it going to be a racial war? What is it going to be? Is it going to be a war? The people rising up against the government? Looking at different possibilities. Will the states fight against each other like in a civil war? But from what I've been watching, like with people like Bernie Sanders talking about the oligarchy, and then Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about the political industrial complex, which these are real things. There's no doubt about it. And the people, that idea going throughout society, not just in America, but also in Europe and all around the world, this idea that governments don't represent the constituents, governments don't represent the people, governments represent the fundraisers, the ones who give them the money to get the votes, which are the oligarchs, the political industrial complex. In America, there's like two groups of oligarchs. They're like what I call the Pfizer cartel. And you'll never hear the Democrats speaking against the Pfizer cartel. They'll be speaking against the tech bros. And then the Republicans, some of them will be speaking against the Pfizer cartel, but they won't speak against the tech bros. So the oligarchical system in America is divided. But still, it's an oligarchy. The government, this is what the people are realizing. The government does not work for the voters. The government works for campaign contributors, the financial contributors to the campaign. So, in times past, not so long ago, people were blaming the government, talking about the swamp and all this type of stuff, and they've been like perplexed or whatever because they realize it doesn't seem to matter who they put in there. The politician doesn't, do what's expected of them. And people don't understand why. They just call it the swamp. The swamp. They just mention the swamp thing, but they don't understand what exactly the swamp is. But now people like Bernie Sanders and Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about the oligarchy, talking about the political industrial complex, and then we start to understand the swamp. So what we have basically, and everybody sees this too, this idea out there too, is that the economic system is benefiting a very small number of people, and everybody else, out in the system, they have a hard time paying their rent, hard time paying for food and gas and everything. So the rich are getting richer, the middle class is withering away, the poor are getting poorer. And usually, there's ways to like a cyclical thing, I think. I don't know. But the problem is that, I think the U.S. government, it's over close to $40 trillion in debt. And all of these countries now, they realize that the U.S. dollar is a Ponzi scheme, and they're just printing this stuff and blah, blah, blah. And so they're getting rid of they're getting rid of the U.S. dollars. The Japanese are getting rid of it. The Chinese are getting rid of it. Everybody's getting rid of it. Nobody wants to. Well, it's getting to. I don't want to say nobody wants to buy it, but people, the U.S. dollar is becoming less and less valuable because they know it's just a big Ponzi scheme. It's worthless paper. It doesn't mean anything. And then you have people in the U.S. government trying to talk about going over to some digital currency, converting everything to a digital currency. And expecting that lie to be believed by people. The fact is, fiat currency is a lie. It's fictitious. It depends upon the imagination of the people that used it, because it has nothing backing it up. Well, the same thing with digital currency. It's the exact same thing. These are fiat digital currencies. So if you think that you can, fix your money by converting it from a paper fiat currency to a digital fiat currency, only a lunatic would believe something like that, or a liar, somebody who's lying and wants to spread a lie. The point being is that the U.S. dollar is going to collapse, and it's already collapsed. And when the U.S. dollar collapses, then, the shelves could go empty. People can't afford anything. It's just bad enough now. What they call inflation, it's just not inflation. Inflation is caused by not having enough product, supply and demand. This is not what's happening. This is currency devaluation. They're printing so much money, it's just devaluing the currency. They call it inflation, but it's not inflation. It's currency devaluation. Math doesn't lie, man. If you increase the money supply, that means every individual unit of money is worth less. Simple. The point being is that when the U.S. dollar collapses, what's going to happen? Well, the people are going to be hungry. And if you study the world and you study history, the most dangerous thing in this world are mobs of hungry people. They're not going to put up with any excuses because they feel the fear of starvation, and they will do terrible things. This is how wars are started. This is how civil wars are started. So the point is that you're going to have a bunch of, you already do, but you're going to have a bunch of starving people in the United States of America, and probably other countries too, because when the U.S. dollar collapses, it's most likely going to collapse all the other currencies as well. So the people are going to be looking for somebody to blame. So it's not really a racial thing, is it? When everybody's getting economically slaughtered, so you can't say, well, it's a white thing, it's a black thing. That's not going to go. And then look at the government, but the government, everybody's understanding that the government is, these people in the government, they're just puppets for their financial donors. So the point being is that this is what I'm looking at, trying to understand how the Civil War is going to happen. I don't know if it's a civil war, but a civil unrest, extreme civil unrest is going to happen. And if everything continues on the track that it's on, it looks like the people are going to rise up against this political industrial complex, against the oligarchs. This is the thing that these oligarchs and the political industrial complex, they don't understand. They think that that they're safe by taking over the government, by controlling the government. And they think that they can do whatever they want against the people because they don't care, because they control the government. They think that they can print money and all this type of stuff. They can do anything that they want to do. Not understanding is that when they collapse the system, the people are the most dangerous thing in any country are the people. You got to keep the people happy, man. If you don't keep the people happy, you're going to get annihilated. So when the house of cards collapses and people are looking for somebody to blame, the one that's going to get blamed are the oligarchs. The government, they can hide behind the military and they can hide behind their security. These oligarchs, how are they going to defend themselves and defend their employees and all this type of stuff? Oh, they're going to have to build military camps. Because you're going to have mobs, thousands and thousands, maybe tens of thousands of people, marching up to destroy these things. So anyway, so the point being is where I come in. And this is the only reason I'm talking about this, because this is an issue that I play a part in. The way to overcome all of these fiat currencies is to convert them into some kind of resource-backed currency. So you can try and back the currencies up with gold, but really there's not enough gold. And the other problem too is that gold is very difficult to prove. So somebody can say they have 1,000 bars of gold, but that gold may be mixed with silver, so or copper or whatever. Who knows what's in there? See my point? So gold is all right, but it's not really verifiable. It's hard to verify, and plus it's just not enough gold. So the correct resource to use is hydrocarbon, oil, because the entire system runs on oil. The entire economy runs on hydrocarbon. So the right backer of currency would be hydrocarbon. So, and that's what I want to do with my oil. I want to create this bank, and then back the bank's currency up with the oil. So it'll be a resource-backed currency. And then we can use that. Then I will use my currency to, basically prop up the other currencies. And then they can basically peg themselves to my currency, and then they will all be, hydrocarbon-backed currencies. I have enough hydrocarbon to do that. The other people, they don't have enough hydrocarbon. Maybe 1 trillion barrels or less than 1 trillion barrels or something like that. Where I have quadrillions and quadrillions of barrels of oil in my own oil reserve, which I am the exclusive owner of. So, and I don't want to use it to destroy the world. I don't want to use it for selfish reasons. There's no need. My oil in my bank is going to make me the richest person in the history of the world. I'll be richer than all nations ever combined. So making money isn't the issue. So but I believe in this whole idea in the movie The Beautiful Mind. What's best for the group is best for the individual. So I understand that. So I understand that I cannot survive without the group. So I have to look after the group. I have to use what I have to look after the group. So that's what I want to do. But the problem is, you have these oligarchs, the political industrial complex. They're the ones that are against me because I'm like an opposing oligarch to them. I've got more money than them. They know that. Plus the whole Caesar thing. They can't deal with me with the law, so they can't use the government against me. That's impossible because of the Caesar issue, the fact that I own the Greco-Roman intellectual systems, including the Roman alphabet. So can't I don't allow people to use the Roman alphabet against me. So court orders and laws and constitutions, they're meaningless to me. They only exist if I prove them. And of course, I'm not going to prove anybody using my own indigenous intellectual property against me. I'm not going to do that. And there's nobody who can defeat me on that because I'm Caesar's certified heir. That means that I am Divi. I am divine. I am legally divine. I'm not divine like Jesus is divine or God is divine or whatever. I'm divine. I'm legally divine, which means if you're not legally divine, then my bloodline was recognized as one of the Roman deities. So if you're not an opposing Roman deity, you have nothing to say to me about how the Greco-Roman intellectual systems are being used. So that's it. I mean, this is legally a legal argument. So they can't. There's no way. I control the alphabet. So these oligarchs, they got a real problem. This is why I'm shadow banned. Like probably 2 or 3 people will see this video. But anyway, one day I won't be. I'm working on that. But this is the thing. These are the people that are against me. And the particular reason that they're against me is because I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. Thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not covet, all this type of stuff. And of course, they make their money off of stealing, coveting, and all these different types of things. treating people badly, dominating people. Where Jesus said, love God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, and then love your neighbor as yourself. That's not the way oligarchs. These oligarchs that oppose me, the political industrial complex that oppose me, they believe that they are God. And they believe that they have a right to mistreat humans, So we are on opposite sides of the scale. This is why they're totally against me. In mass. But it doesn't matter because what determines their power is these fiat currencies, and these fiat currencies are going to crash. And then I'm going to be the only one left. When the U.S. dollar crashes, in other words, when the U.S. dollar needs a bailout, when America needs a bailout, or Europe needs a bailout, or South America needs a bailout, or Africa needs a bailout, or whoever, Asia needs a bailout, they got to come to me because there's not going to be anybody left. I'm in. So I'm just waiting for that moment. But anyway, this are my thoughts on the next great conflict that is going to happen.